A woman with supernatural strength can't be stopped when she gets angry. At the same time, there is a gang that no one, not even the government, can stop. After they murder her lover, she seeks revenge and takes them all down. The movie start with Lindy Lewis is a woman who suffers from a rare condition called intermittent explosive disorder, which causes her to experience uncontrollable fits of rage over the smallest provocations. This isn't just psychological. Her body produces abnormally high levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, which gives her enhanced strength and speed during these outbursts. Because of her inability to control her violent reactions, Lindy had a troubled upbringing. Her parents, unable to manage her unpredictable and often dangerous behavior, had no choice but to institutionalize her. However, the institution failed to help her, just like all other previous attempts to control her aggression. Even when she was sent to the military, hoping discipline might keep her in check, they, too, could not control her violent impulses. Eventually, a breakthrough occurs when Lindy meets Dr. Ivan Munchin, a therapist and scientist who designs an experimental treatment specifically for her condition. He develops a vest, lined with electrodes, which delivers electric shocks to Lindy whenever she feels her anger building up. This self-administered shock therapy is the only thing that allows her to suppress her violent outbursts, granting her a semblance of control over her life. However, the treatment is not a cure. Lindy must wear the vest at all times, as it is her only means of managing her disorder and living in society without causing harm to herself or others. Despite this improvement, Lindy struggles to connect with people. Her emotional isolation weighs heavily on her, as she avoids any close relationships for fear that her anger might hurt those around her. Recognizing this, Dr. Munchin suggests she begin dating, seeing it as a way for her to test her ability to maintain control in emotionally charged situations. Initially reluctant, Lindy eventually agrees to try and starts dating a man named Justin, an easygoing and kind accountant. She's hopeful that this relationship might help her build a sense of normalcy, something she's long desired but could never achieve due to her condition. During their first date, Lindy finds herself genuinely enjoying Justin's company. He's calm, understanding, and seems like someone who could accept her despite her disorder. However, things take a sharp turn when their waitress rudely mocks Justin's food allergies. Lindy, unable to suppress her anger, flies into a rage and violently assaults the waitress in the middle of the restaurant. Humiliated by her loss of control, she abruptly leaves and heads straight back to Dr. Munchin, convinced that her vest must not be functioning properly. Dr. Munchin examines the vest and reassures her that the vest is fine. It's just that Lindy has developed a tolerance to the electrical shocks, so he increases the voltage to ensure it's strong enough to control her outbursts. Determined not to give up, Lindy decides to give the relationship another chance and contacts Justin for a second date. As they spend more time together, they open up about their pasts. Lindy reveals that she used to work as a bouncer, which allowed her to channel some of her aggression in a controlled environment. Meanwhile, Justin talks about his job as an accountant and mentions that he only has one client, a man named Barry, who seems to have some questionable business dealings. Despite these revelations, the evening goes smoothly, and Justin spends the night at Lindy's apartment. Even when Justin sees the electrode vest and the evidence of Lindy's condition, he doesn't shy away from her. Instead, he shows acceptance, which gives Lindy hope that she might be able to have a normal relationship. After all, the next morning, Justin surprises Lindy with a thoughtful gift, a camera, after learning about her love for photography. Lindy is touched by the gesture and begins to feel that her life might finally be turning around. Justin invites her to dinner later that evening, and Lindy eagerly accepts, excited about the potential of their budding relationship. However, that night, when Lindy tries to call Justin, a detective answers his phone instead. The detective informs Lindy that Justin has been murdered. Devastated by the news, Lindy is consumed by grief and rage. She shocks herself repeatedly with the vest in an attempt to numb her emotions, but it no longer provides the relief she seeks. Overwhelmed by her need for answers and justice, Lindy goes back to Dr. Munchin. He tries to calm her down by giving her a sedative and urging her to let go of her desire for revenge. He warns her that seeking revenge will only lead to further destruction, but Lindy refuses to listen. She is determined to find out who killed Justin and why. Using her wits, Lindy devises a plan to gain access to the evidence related to Justin's murder. She tricks the detectives working on the case into leaving the police station, which allows her to sneak into the evidence room and gather critical information. This leads her to Justin's phone, which contains a crucial lead: his only client, Barry Kaspersky, a notorious figure in the criminal underworld. Lindy tracks Barry down to an underground fight club where she confronts him, demanding to know what happened to Justin. Barry agrees to give her the information she seeks, but only if she fights 3 of his top fighters in the ring. With her rage boiling over, Lindy takes on all 3 men in a brutal and bloody fight, emerging victorious despite the odds. However, instead of honoring his agreement, Barry tries to have her killed, but Lindy is not one to be taken down easily. She manages to defeat Barry's gunman and forces Barry to reveal the truth. A billionaire named Gareth Fizell had ordered Justin's murder. Although Lindy finally gets the answer she's been searching for, her anger takes over, and she electrocutes Barry with jumper cables as a final act of vengeance. With the name of Justin's killer in hand, Lindy sets her sights on Fizell. She enlists the reluctant help of Detective Vickers, who has been following her throughout her investigation. Despite their earlier confrontations, Vickers provides Lindy with the information she needs, believing that she truly cared about Justin and deserves justice. However, before Lindy can act on this information, Detective Nevins appears, trying to arrest her. In a desperate bid to escape, Lindy throws babies at Nevins in a maternity ward, slowing her down just enough to make her getaway. When Lindy finally reaches Fizell's building, she is ambushed by his head of security, Delacroix. He knocks her unconscious and takes away her vest, leaving her defenseless. When Lindy regains consciousness, she finds herself zip-tied to a chair in a white, sterile room. But Lindy, ever resourceful, manages to escape her restraints and overpower Delacroix, reclaiming her freedom. Lindy returns to Dr. Munchin to retrieve a new vest, determined to confront Fizell once and for all. But when she arrives back at her apartment, she realizes that something is wrong. Upon closer inspection, she discovers that Fizell's men have rigged her apartment with explosives. Thinking quickly, Lindy disarms the bomb and takes it with her, knowing she might need it for her final showdown with Fizell. The final confrontation between Lindy and Fizell brings a shocking revelation. Justin isn't dead. He had faked his death as part of an elaborate scheme. Justin, it turns out, is a CIA operative, and his entire relationship with Lindy was a setup. He had used her to get close to Fizell, manipulating her emotions to further his own mission. Devastated by this betrayal, Lindy realizes that both Justin and Dr. Munchin had been using her all along. Dr. Munchin, whom she had trusted, had been working with the CIA, using her as a pawn in his government-funded experiments. Furious and heartbroken, Lindy decides to take matters into her own hands. She plants the bomb she had disarmed earlier in Fizell's lair and detonates it, killing both Fizell and Justin in a massive explosion. With her mission complete, Lindy returns to Dr. Munchin's office, ready to confront him for his role in the deception. However, in a moment of clarity, Lindy decides not to kill him. Instead, she handcuffs him and leaves him for the police to arrest. As she walks away, Detective Vickers and Detective Nevins arrive to take Dr. Munchin into custody. Lindy, finally free from the manipulation and control of others, walks away from the chaos, ready to start a new chapter in her life. But just as she's about to leave, she's approached by a mysterious woman from her past who hints that Lindy's true power lies in fully embracing her rage. The film ends on a cliffhanger as the woman activates Lindy's voltage detonator, leaving her future uncertain. End the movie. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other recaps and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.